Robert Toombs. Remember, Toombs was in command down at the bridge, and he's now pulled his forces back here. He's been gathering up more stragglers, and he's actually put together an ad hoc force along this road out here, Murfreesbury Road, that's just behind us. Toombs had moved McIntosh's battery to our right. If you actually look out in that field, that might have been done. Yeah, you can see the two cannon there. Those are the two cannons. McIntosh is ordering his men to fire canister directly on the advancing Connecticut troops, who were down only about 50 to 75 yards away to our left and down the hill a little bit. By 4:25, in spite of the hail of fire from the Confederate guns, one company from the 8th Connecticut detaches from the main body and attacks that battery directly. And they actually capture that battery for a moment. In fact, one of the soldiers jumps up and he straddles the gun and waves his hat in the air. But it's only momentary. And Toombs, as Georgians continue to fire, and the company has to retreat. The soldiers of Company K rejoin their regiment. By 4:30, they have returned to meet the main body. By 4:35, Fairchild's brigade on the right, which the 9th New York was part of, has been ordered to retire from the field. They've met their high water mark. The 8th continues to fight, but now they're being flanked by two new regiments coming onto the field, the 7th and the 37th North Carolina of A.P. Hill's division coming up from Murfreesbury. So they're receiving fire from their front and from their left at the same time. The regimental commander, Lieutenant Colonel Appleman, instructs his color guard to never leave the colors. And then in quick succession, all the members of the 8th's color guard are killed in the fighting. Here's an account. One of the color guard falls, 2, 3, 4, the last, and the standard goes to the ground with him. Private Charles H. Walker springs forward, and he seizes it amid the storm of death. He strikes the staff firmly in the ground. He shakes out the flag defiantly in the face of the enemy. That's exactly what you would do in those days. You would shake your flag in the enemy's face to come and get it. Shortly thereafter, Colonel Appleman is seriously wounded and carried from the field. Major Ward assumes command of the 8th as it continues to receive concentrated fire from the left flank. General Toombs is still reforming the remnants of his brigade, plus other stragglers moving through the area. They retake McIntosh's battery, and they form a new defensive line here in front of the 8th. The fire builds from the front and from the left flank. It is at this point that one of the soldiers in the 8th Connecticut, Company A, Private Oliver Cromwell Case, is killed by a bullet that strikes him in the head just above the ear lines. And based on his brother's description of the wound, the bullet came from the North Carolina troops who were on the left flank of the 8th. Case falls near where his friends and fellow soldiers of the 8th Connecticut Volunteer Regiment, where he served for 1 year and a day. Why do I tell you about that one soldier? I'm coming to that a little bit later. By 4:40, realizing that his isolated regiment is about to be flanked by the fresh Confederate troops of Hill's division, Major Ward orders the 8th to retreat to a safer position, but the men are stubbornly defending the territory they paid for in blood, and it takes the new commander 3 attempts to get his soldiers to abandon the fight. It is only when Major Ward appeals to them to rally around their colors that the soldiers finally relent. Although some Confederate accounts seem to disagree, the majority of the witnesses from both sides testified that the regiment retired in good order following their colors. By 5 o'clock, the 8th Connecticut finds shelter and rest near the Swale and the Otto House. That's back where we were at a while ago, where the 11th Ohio Monument is at. Rest is relative and may be short-lived because the Union commanders fully anticipate the Confederates will counterattack at any moment. However, Confederate soldiers all on the line are used up, and there are no significant reserves, so a counterattack will never come. Although General McClellan is holding an entire corps of fresh troops located near his headquarters at the Pry House, the units on the Union left are totally exhausted from the day's fighting, and a relative calm falls across the battlefield as daylight fades away. The Army of the Potomac remained in the Sharpsburg area for 6 weeks, resting and refitting. McClellan refused to go on the offensive against Lee into Virginia, and he is eventually relieved by Abraham Lincoln.
Why did he do that?
And General Ambrose Burnside is placed in command.
Why didn't they follow? Why didn't they just keep going?
Who's that?
McClellan.
McClellan?
McClellan.
McClellan believes his army needs to be refitted, retrained, reorganized.
When we got him on the run,
McClellan's cautious. He's more concerned with the condition of his army.
now he can see that how many men the Confederates have. I mean, he's got a better.
He still thinks he's outnumbered. He
How?
always
Believe it or not, he still thinks he's outnumbered because think about what the numerically inferior Confederates have done here. They've made themselves seem like a lot more than 30 or 35,000 troops. They seem like 50 or 60,000 troops. And so McClellan is very leery of pursuing.
with all his rested reserves, he probably relatively easily could have chased him down.
Oh, easily. You could have sent one corps after him and probably chased him down. He does send a small force to Shepherdstown to pursue him, and there's a small skirmish there, but nothing significant. He
So
never
what they
crosses
do? Did
into
they
Virginia.
rob Harper's Ferry on the way out?
No, they still have, believe it or not, Lee still has a lot of supplies and a lot of artillery waiting at Shepherdstown. He kept a reserve back there,
Still waiting?
still there, just in case he
Amazing.
needed it. So a lot